I know this might be hard to hear, but we are all just files on a desktop.
Hi everyone, tarot expert and mystical misfit and wormhole kingster.
Joe Monteleone here. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why we are just files on a desktop. So please note that nothing is true, everything is permitted. I am a paradigm philosopher masochist. I love to create ideas about the world and then have them destroyed and shattered and leaving me hopeless with nothing to grab onto but some semblance of space, which is actually the void, which I will get into in another video. But in this video, I'm going to talk about how we're all folders on a desktop. Okay. So it all started when, well, no, I'm going to go into this Kabbalistically first for my tarot and esoteric peeps. So here's the tea. You ready for it? In the Tree of Life, and in, this is Jewish mysticism, I'm talking Kabbalah here. So in the Tree of Life, there's a lot of different God names. And if you've noticed, God has a lot of names in general in every Abrahamic religion because she's fucking serving looks right and left. Like, she's a busy woman, she's got a lot to do, so she has a lot of different forms of herself, himself, themselves to happen to the world and to keep this shit running. And thank God she does, because I am having such a good time. Yeah, God's got a lot of names, and when we go into the world of Bria, so there's 4 worlds in the Kabbalistic system, and I won't get into that in this video. I have other videos about stuff that you can look or ask me. But in the 4 worlds, there's a world called Bria. Bria is the second world, and it's the creative world. It's connected to water in hermetic Kabbalah. In Jewish Kabbalah, I believe it's connected to air, which kind of makes actually more sense, but I'm going to stick to the hermetic Kabbalah because that's kind of my jam. So it's connected to water, and water is the receiving side of it, whereas the first world is fire, which is the masculine, penetrating, initiative side. So we have this realm of water. And on the Tree of Life, which are 10 emanations of God, 10 vessels of God, so to speak, or spheres or numbers, we have different God names for each sphere. Now we have all these God names, and then we get to number 6, and 6 is called Yehovah Elohava Daath, and that means the Lord God of knowledge. Keep that in mind. When we get to 7, we have the name Yehovah Zabaoth, which means Lord of hosts. Keep that in mind. When we get to the 8th sphere of God, we have Elohim Zabaoth, which means God of hosts. So I've been asking myself, who are these hosts? And I've been asking myself that for many years, and I've come to believe through a mystical experience and a half that those hosts are indeed us. We are those hosts because those spheres 7 and 8, 7 has to do with feelings and emotions, 8 has to do with intellect. 7 has to do with individuation, and 8 has to do with submission to something higher than you, whereas 7 has to do with like you individuating away from something that is higher than you. So the idea here is number 6, Tiferet, is the highest sphere in the system that we can access without going through a major transformation. And 7 and 8 are more accessible to us right now. I mean, there are feelings, there are intellect. We use them all the time, right? Such is the curse of humanity. But anywho, these things are normal. So who are these hosts? Well, they are us. And what is being hosted? Knowledge. The Tiferet, the 6th Sephira, Tiferet, Lord God of knowledge. Okay, pause. I'm going to give you a little bit of a fun anecdote. So I had this crazy mystical experience that had many different layers and many different sub-stories in it, but in this one, which is one of the juicier, more philosophical ones, I became aware that I could not control my thoughts. My thoughts were existing independently of me. I'm going to start drawing random tarot cards to see how it wants to explain the story. My thoughts, the Lovers, makes sense, Gemini, which is actually choice and thought on a deeper level. My thoughts were existing independently of me, and I couldn't control them. I was kind of like, my awareness and my consciousness was kind of like oceanic real estate, and the thoughts were fish that just swam in and out as they pleased. It was wild, and I've always knew the idea of like, okay, not all my thoughts are mine, because we're all psychic beings. We all pick up on each other's shit. So I knew that. But then after the experience, viscerally knowing that these thoughts existed independently of me, I really thought about that. And I thought about like my purpose and the telos of humanity and the existence of the universe and why am I here? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just a host for information. I'm just a file on a desktop. But then I kept thinking about it, and I either read or remembered a similar idea that Carl Jung talked about. Ooh, look at this. He's contemplating his thoughts. He's the apprentice of vials in his own world. This is Page of Cups, like watching the fish, watching his subconscious. I remember Carl Jung saying something like, we don't have thoughts, thoughts have us. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm connecting it further to the hermetic idea that all is mind. So in the Hermetica, we have the idea that all is mind. Ooh, the Knight of Wires, racing forward, uninterrupted. Uninterrupted flow, energy, which is the universe, which is Shakti and Shiva, just movement happening all at once. The all is mind, which experiences itself through ripples and energy and all these coagulations of experience. And what's coagulation of experience? Oh, we got the art card. We got temperance. That totally makes sense. Coagula. See how good the tarot is? Salve is the lovers. The temperance card is coagula, bringing things together. So, so I'm thinking about the universe in that way. That makes sense because we have as above, so below. The large mind, the infinite mind, the all, as the Kabbalion would say, is a larger, higher version than us, which we are the microcosm to the macrocosm. Now, I believe you'll find a lot of similar ideas in Vedanta, though I haven't researched too much, but I do believe there's a lot of parallels in Tantra as this Shiva-Shakti dynamic, which are actually the same thing, which veil themselves further and further, veil themselves. Look at this veiled Page of Swords, Aquarius energy, humanity, the self, the ego, embodied on earth through the Princess of Swords, or the Page of Swords right here, or the Apprentice of Arms in the Neon Moon deck. So consciousness veils itself through these, I believe, are they called tattvas, or I'm not quite sure, I have to check on that, but veils itself in these different ways by reducing its ability to will and to know and to desire and to take action until it becomes the microcosm. So these ideas are not just in one section of the library. I know, it's crazy, right? It's so much to handle right now. Oh my God. And to be honest, when I really dive into any esoteric form of any religion, I kind of find the same stuff. This general idea that like all is mind, all is one, the one expands to further itself in different units of consciousness, and then we are the hosts of the information, and but also the further fractalization of that consciousness, which is the Magician card. So I guess my question to you is, have you found anything else in esoteric thought, or anything that goes against that general philosophy? But this kind of makes sense because energy can't be created or destroyed, but information can. So for example, you can have a half, 1/2, and then you can have 2/4, 2/4. It's the same amount, but 2/4 is more information. 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords makes sense because we're talking about a half and then 2/4, and it's like any division and cutting off of the half is actually the secret of the 10 of Swords, which is the choice that Gemini has to make in the last decan. This is the last decan of Gemini. Gemini love to go between this and that and all the options, and this is when Gemini finally makes a damn choice, which is to make a sacrifice of the choice that was not chosen. So, half, 2/4, is more information. Okay, cool. Anyhoozle, the moral of the story is, we are all hosts of information, and if you'd like to find out where this is going, you'll have to look at my next video when I talk about the future God. Cool, thanks for sticking with me on these weird cyber theological rants. I look forward to geeking out with tarot with you. I teach classes, a lot of classes right now, so I have a class coming up in a few weeks probably, so hit me up about that. Link in description, link in my bio, link wherever this video shows up. And much love, happy reading, happy astral virtual diving.